this morning, I wake up at like 5:30 in the morning, and Carlos Correa is a New York freaking Met, which I was initially happy about. Well, my initial reaction, my jaw was just dropped to the floor. I I thought that was like fake. Like, seriously, this is happening? My initial thought after that was, okay, this is good for the Padres, right? They don't have to see Carlos Correa in the NL West. Great. But then it's like, well, if Carlos Correa was a Giant, I wouldn't have been scared of the Giants anyway, at least for the next couple years, because he doesn't have a lot of talent around him. He doesn't have the same amount of talent around him as Manny or Bogarts has here in San Diego. We're worried about the Dodgers, not the Giants. Now that he's on the Mets, it's like, well, that's a barrier, right? The Padres have to, or not a barrier, but it's a, how do I say this? It's something that the Padres have to get over. So maybe a barrier. It's definitely something that the Padres have to get over again. They have to get past this Mets team come postseason time. That's what it feels like. It feels like the Mets, they are definitely going to the postseason. Verlander, Senga, Scherzer, Carrasco, Quintana, Lindor, Correa, Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil, Marte, Omar Narvaez they added. They have Edwin Diaz there, David Robertson, Brooks Raley. Like, it seems like they're definitely going to the postseason. And now you add Correa to that team. It would seem like it would be harder for the Padres to beat the Mets now that Correa is on the team over having Eduardo Escobar as their third baseman. So I wasn't worried about the Giants even with Correa. Now I'm definitely not worried about them with Mitch Haniger and a bunch of other guys. But I'm more worried about the Mets, about getting past the Mets now than I was before I woke up this morning. Now, I think the Padres will be able to get past the Mets. I believe in this team. I'm always trying to look at things glass half full. I think, there was someone on Twitter earlier today, name a better left side of the infield, and there's a picture of Correa and Lindor, and it's like Bogarts and Manny, or Manny and Tatis. And someone in my mentions was like, yeah, no, not Bogarts and Manny. I'm like, yeah, Bogarts and Manny. They had a higher WAR this past year combined than Correa and Lindor did. And everyone, all of those guys pretty much stayed healthy. It was like 2 wins higher than Correa and Lindor. Like, people think Bogarts is like not anywhere close to Lindor or Correa. It's like, that's not true. And Manny's the best third baseman in baseball. He was the MVP of the National League, in my mind, this past season. And then you add Tatis and Cronenworth and Matt Carpenter and hopefully another bat. And you have this bullpen, which is strong and could be stronger, depending on if Pomeranz stays healthy. Maybe Lugo goes to the bullpen at some point. We'll see about Morahone. Maybe the Padres add another starter, add that to Musgrove, Darvish, Snell. Like, the Padres are very talented. I think they're as talented still as the Mets. Maybe not in the rotation. Maybe give the edge there to the Mets, like full, and like they have a deeper rotation, maybe like 1 through 5. But I'd put the Padres lineup up against the Mets and see what happens. Mets fans, they're excited because they got Carlos Correa. We already had our Carlos Correa, our third baseman. And I think he's better than Carlos Correa, and that's Manny. We already had our third base shortstop combo before the Carlos Correa signing here. Tatis was in the outfield. It was Bogarts and Manny. We have that trio there, right? What is the Mets trio? Correa, Lindor, and Alonso? McNeil, Marte? All right, that's solid. Oh, yeah, we have Juan Soto as well, who's better than Marte. He's better than Nimmo. He's better than whoever they have in the outfield. So, and our bullpen, they have Edwin Diaz. All right, we have Josh Hader. We have Robert Suarez. We have Drew Pomeranz, hopefully. We have Luis Garcia. We have Tim Hill. We have the Rule 5 guy, Lopez, who the Padres obviously are high on. I'll stack up the Padres against the Mets. I'm just saying that the Mets have improved, obviously, now adding Correa, and it will be harder to beat them I think it can be done. I mean, we saw it last year, and we've improved this year. It will be harder to beat them, and I think Correa being a Giant, I don't think that would have been as bad for the Padres as Correa being a Met in 2023, 2024, you know, right here, like looking at right now, these next couple years.